Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our Narrow Road podcast, where I, Amanda Williams, your host, and Avery Williams, your co host, are living out a countercultural life. And we're inviting you to join us. We're so glad you're here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining me. It has been, again, a little bit of a longer period of time than I wanted to get back on here, and I'm just so excited to do that today. I have a lot of things mulling in my mind, things that I think we should talk about, and today I just thought I want to talk about all the changes going on. I wonder if, like us, you are experiencing change in almost every area of your life right now. Whether it just be changes of the season, changes of situations in your home, good or bad, there's just a lot of change this time of year, especially for our family. And so I wanted to break it down in a fun convo for us today. And I'm hoping that as I'm sharing different areas that we have change in our family, that you'll not only get caught up on what's going on with the Williams, but you also might be able to reflect on the changes in your family and how to navigate those and being encouraged. And if you're not encouraged about changes you're going through, or you're not happy about the changes you're going through, rather, maybe you'll be encouraged that you're not the only one. And we have a community of humans just trying to figure out life, and we're in this together. We're never alone. So I broke this down into the word changes as an acronym, and I gave each letter a category. So the C stands for calendars. We have a lot of changes on our calendar this time of year, and this year particular. As many of you know, we own our own construction company, and so this is our hot season. And to be honest, since COVID, we've never really had a slow season. I think we had one year where wintertime was a bit slow, and Eric was gifted an opportunity to take off a month of work to work on our house, and that was a gift. And it's never happened before and never happened since, that he wouldn't have a job that he was needing to do. So we are so blessed and so grateful. But yeah, this is a time where things are picking up, and people are really wanting to get on the calendar. And it's so wonderful just to see how the Lord is laying out our year. And we are booked out pretty far. But it's just really exciting to see the people that we're going to be able to work with this next year and to be able to serve. There's some really fun, unique projects. I have a great friend, Amber, if you're listening. She has amazing projects that she'd like us to do. And some of them are historic restoration type projects. And other ones are, just little bits here and there of just updating things. And although we are humbled, we're not sure if we're like the perfect people for this. I know Aiden has been working so hard researching what that would look like. And even if we can't do it, we will, try to get recommendations and things like that. But it's just such an honor and such an excitement to hear the different possibilities that come our way. So we're just always so humbled when somebody chooses our company. For our kids, something that really sends us into the change of the season, one of my favorite things is the 4-H classes. I don't know where you live and what your 4-H experience has been. I never grew up in 4-H, but my husband did for a couple years. His family was really big into 4-H, but because of their divorce when he was about in 3rd grade, he didn't get to finish it, but we always thought that was something we'd love our kids to be involved in. Our county has the best summer 4-H classes. I mean, they are the best. Even today, my kids are going to the fairgrounds and they get to make a cat tree. And so they have anything from that to learning to weld, learning how machinery is made, field trips to a farm. They've done field trips to baseball games, the Iowa State Stadium, to a salon school where they can learn about spa and how that type of business works. I can't even think of all the classes they've gotten to do. Woodworking. I think I already said welding. It's just phenomenal, the opportunities they have, and for a very meager price. I think each class runs between $5 and $15. And so we just have just this love for these classes. And so that's filling up our calendar right now. And then, of course, the fair. We have our county fair and the state fair. That's something we always look forward to as we're transitioning from spring to summer. Another thing that's filling up our schedule this year, and it's very unique for us, is baseball and softball. So Avery did play softball for quite a few years when she was younger, but with Aiden's asthma and things like that, he didn't go out for baseball. So we only knew what it was like to have, middle school softball on the schedule. Well, we have 4 kiddos that are just, 13, 12, 11, 10. And so they are all basically in the same age group, and baseball and softball is taking up a lot of our schedule. But I have to say, I have so enjoyed it. I remember when Aiden and Avery were really little and we worked with the youth group. I remember the high schoolers were involved in baseball and softball, and every day of the week in their summer was booked with this sport. And I just thought, oh, I hope my kids never play these sports. I would never want to be booked up every day of the week. But as we've gotten to those age ranges where things pick up the pace a little, we have actually really enjoyed it. It's actually, just a chance to get out your lawn chair, to sit around with friends in the beautiful sunshine with a cool breeze and watch our kids grow and encourage one another and overcome hardships. And it's actually been a really fun time. We have great families on our teams. We love sitting and visiting with the other parents, and the younger siblings love playing together. And it's just been a really fun time. Another interesting thing that our community has is we have a husband and wife who love running. They have run all their lives. Their children have run since they're probably 4 or 5. The minute they could get them out on the sidewalk, they were running. And so they are offering for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders a cross-country experience in the month of June, where every Saturday they would get to race with other cross-country students of the same age. And it's just in 4 neighboring towns. And then all week like every other day, they get together and they practice a run together. And so it's just getting their love for learning to run, learning about pacing and that kind of thing. And so our kids are doing that. And then the 7th and 8th graders are also getting to do a cross-country training this summer. So Samson gets to do both the younger kid camp and the older, and they're all just having a blast running together. And I am so impressed. Jordan's long legs, he is running farther and farther distances, stopping less and less. And it's just been so cool. So that's been fun for this summer. Band, we are doing band. We have a trumpet player, a clarinet player, and a trombone player now. So Jocelyn's taking on Avery's clarinet. Samson's going to do the trumpet, which he did in 5th grade. He took last year off. And John is going to do the trombone, which is what I played. And I'm pretty sure I got stuck playing trombone because my awesome uncle had one laying around in his basement, and it was free to borrow. But John was like, I want to play what you played, Mom. So we got him his own trombone, and he'll start his lessons in August. So we've been doing some private lessons this summer, just getting them kind of caught up and helping them just get a little bit of a jump start on their instruments, and they're loving it. Another thing that's changing on our calendar is Avery's camp schedule. So she has campers every Sunday afternoon until Friday afternoon. And then they have a debriefing time and kind of a dinner. And so she doesn't have a lot of time from that Friday evening to Sunday. They're required to go to a church service outside of camp so that they're seen in the community and they're not just living in a bubble all summer. And our church meets too late in the morning for her to get back to camp on time. And so she has to get up really early on Sunday morning, drive to Ames, and go to Cornerstone Church and then head back over to the camp. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense for her to come home on the weekend. She's pretty exhausted and would probably just do a lot of sleeping. Whereas if she stays at camp, her friends are there, they can all sleep, nap, whatever, and then have all day Saturday together just to reprieve and do something fun, do the rock climbing wall or go on a hike or just something encouraging. I know sometimes they'll run to Ames and go out to lunch or just create memories together. So that's a huge change for our family. We're used to her being around and bubbly and popping in and out and baking and making messes and all the fun things. And so now she's gone basically most of the summer. So our calendar looks really different, but she's amazing. She's staying up on the weekends with what her siblings have done for the week, calling home, FaceTiming them. She's just a great, great sister. So that's the calendar changes from spring to summer around here, and we're enjoying it. Other areas where our family has experienced a lot of change, and this is really good change, is our home. So if you haven't heard our story, we bought a little house in 2006, and it was going to be kind of a fixer-upper rental. We had just moved to town, didn't quite know what area of town would be the best place to live. And so we thought, well, we'll just get this little house for now and fix it up, maybe have it as a rental property when we find the house we want to live in. And fast forward however many years, we are still in that location. And when we adopted our younger 3 and then our other son after that, we did not have room for everybody in that little house. It had no basement, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. There was some issues with it, and ended up we found out it needed to be torn down for health reasons and structural reasons. And that was really sad for us because we had put a lot of work into that house, but we were able to add on and make our home bigger and have room for all of us to have a space that we could grow in and welcome others in and honor the Lord with the space. So because Eric has built our house, we have to take it slowly because he still has to work a full-time job, and that's just a lot. So what we have done so far this spring into summer, we've had our yard leveled. So, imagine a construction site for 3 years, just dirt outside, wiping the dog's paws, etc. I just never cleaned up so much dirt in my life. Our floors are we vacuum every day, and it's still just, oh my goodness. But we've leveled out our yard. The south section of our house, we have leveled, put down weed paper. We've built 16 6x3 garden beds, and there'll be kind of a water feature in the center there to come. These are things we'd like to do over time, but we have all the garden beds built. We got beautiful black dirt put in them, and we brought in some rock. And I'm really excited about this because we decided to go with a lime fill instead of a pea gravel. I have a French country or French cottage theme that I have loved for years, and I'm finally kind of getting to express myself in that way with this new house. And for the last 3 years, we've been doing little bits here and there, and finally we've gotten to the gardens. And so I wanted to do pea gravel. That would be the most, I would say, true aesthetic that I could get. But pea gravel is very loose. It's very soft. It'd be very hard to function the way I need my garden to function. I need to pull my wagon down the rows. I need to use a wheelbarrow. I do not want to roll my ankle. I want to be able to walk very easily when I'm watering the garden. So we chose this lime fill, and it comes with the dust on the rocks. So they still look lovely, but as the rain comes, it takes that dust and it forms kind of a hard barrier. It almost turns it into a smooth walking experience like you're on a sidewalk or concrete. But the look of it still looks like some English estate. And so it looks so good out there. It's hardening up wonderfully and it's functioning great. It's like one of the best decisions I've made. So that's a really cool change. And our gardens are planted. I think I have 30 tomato plants. And so I will be bringing content over on Instagram and hopefully my YouTube channel. If any of you are interested in gardening and homeschooling, I'll be doing some things on there as well. But I'm so excited to be back in the gardening game and learning and then sharing what I'm learning to teach others. And it's just one of my favorite things. Let's see. We've moved our trampoline to a different side of the house, so there's a nice shade tree for the kids. We've had a gentleman come out and look at our yard, and we're waiting on an estimate for grass to be planted. We had a new company of young boys who do window washing come and wash our windows for us. And one of the neatest changes in my life is my husband installed my bathroom light in our master bath. I know it sounds silly. Yes, we did have an overhead light in there. But this is the beautiful light that hangs above the mirror so that you can see your face when you're putting on your makeup. And so, yeah, we've just made a lot of improvements here as of late, and we are looking forward to doing a lot more. We still have our kitchen to finish, but we're just torn. We just feel like this time of year we need to be working on the outside and then do something like that more in the fall and winter. Something else that we have on the docket is our sidewalks out front. And then, of course, in the front yard, I'm doing another little English country setting or French country setting. I'm going to be doing a round patio, big enough just for a couple relaxing chairs, maybe a little end table and possibly a fire pit. So we're really excited for the changes to come, and our neighbors will be too. Okay, so that's the C and the H of our word changes. Okay, ages. That is where we're going. We have a lot of ages changing. This is the season for us. So Aiden, today is his birthday. He's 21. And excuse me, we're even changing up as we're aging how we're doing birthdays. And so once my kids hit the age of 20, they get cash. And we just have an experience with them. We're not obviously hosting their friends like we used to when they're young or anything like that. But we're going out to dinner. We're going to Topgolf on Saturday in Minnesota, and he's just getting cash for his birthday. It gets a little simpler as they're adults. So we'll have a 21-year-old. Jocelyn in this summer season is turning 12, and we are also going to forego the big friend party this year. and we're going to do just an experience just as our little family. And she has chosen to go to a water park. And so that will be really fun. Samson is going to be having his second gotcha day here in July, and we are so excited to celebrate him. And then just right in August, he's going to be turning 13, and he's going to be foregoing his big friend party, and we're going to be going as a family. He has chosen a trampoline park. Eric, in August, he turns 49, you guys. I was freaking out when I was writing my notes, and I was like, is he turning 50? No. I'm like, this cannot be. So I had to quick do the calculation. Like, okay, 49, we have one more year. I'm like, oh, this is scary. Neither of us feel the age that we are. So it's shocking. And then John, he turns 11, and he's going to forego the big friend party, and we're going as a family to the mega mall to go on the rides. So those are some changes with ages, and a lot of us are changing over the summer seasons. So kind of fun. Okay, so that's C, H, and A. Now we're moving on to N, and I am talking about nature. The summer days changes. It looks so different around here, just the way we experience nature during this season. Beach days with friends, the farmer's market every Saturday morning if I'm in town. It is my favorite tradition. I go to the farmer's market. I can't even remember the proper name. It's like Lakeside Lemonade, I think, a little food truck, and they have watermelon lemonade. So they take those little kitchen gadgets that they make like a ball of fruit. You can like scoop it in the watermelon and it'll make a ball. So they put like 3 or 4 watermelon balls down in the cup and then pour lemonade over it. And it's so good. I don't even really like lemonade, but this is just different. It's so good. Then I get all of my produce for the week at Red Shed Gardens, and they're local here to us, and they grow all organic produce. And so I stock up there. And then our raw milk farmer is there. Our chicken and pork farmer is there. And our lamb farmer is there. So I can pick up everything I need right there at the farmer's market. And it is just the sweetest. There's also Thursdays on Main in our area, and we're hoping to hit a lot more of those this year. Live music, things for the kids to do. Just getting outside with other families. It's such a fun time. Rooftop restaurants. So we can go to a rooftop restaurant that overlooks the lake in our area. And so that's been fun. We take the convertible out, so much more. Aiden's constantly offering to drive and putting the top down. And it's just so apropos for the season. And we just can tell the way we're experiencing nature is changing. Campfires, sleeping out on the trampoline at night. The kids have done this. Early mornings in the garden, watering, and late evenings, watering the garden. Going outside and picking fresh herbs for supper. I love it. Lighthearted, comedic movie nights with the kids. My kids have just recently, if you saw my stories on Instagram today, they have recently taken in the movie The Three Amigos. And the Three Amigos have a little, I don't know what you call it, where they crisscross their arms on their chest and they thrust their pelvis forward and they yell. I don't know. It's this funny dance. So they wake up in the morning doing it. They're constantly wanting me to video. So I videoed their morning one and their late night one last night. I thought, when is this going to end? But it's so fun. They love to laugh, and they're just sponges, of course. And so I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know if this is an inappropriate dance or not, but it's so cute. Popsicles and ice cream. So Jolly Llama is a brand that we can have. They're actually dairy-free, but we can have dairy now. They have a gluten-free drumstick. Do you guys get those drumsticks from like the Schwans? Do you remember those? Or even, I don't even know what the brand is, but you can just get the regular drumsticks like at Casey's or whatever. Oh my goodness, they have regular drumsticks, they have a caramel, and I am not as impressed this year with the ingredients. I think they might have sold out to another company, so they're not as clean as they were. But if you need a gluten-free option for a birthday party or something like this would be a better option. But they have these drumsticks, they've got little ice cream sandwiches, things that gluten-free people never can have. They have a mint chocolate chip one. They have regular vanilla. It's so telling of the summer. So we don't do a lot of those snacks, but in the summer, it's just fun. Homemade ice cream too. Eric loves to make homemade ice cream. He loves to come up with fun flavors. And then, of course, staying up later because the sun is out forever. So that is how we're experiencing nature a little differently as things are changing. Okay, so that's CHAN. Now we're on to G, goals. Our goals are changing. And this is such a fun, such a fun thing to look forward. And Eric and I meet twice a year. We meet right after the new year and then right before school starts. And often we do meet again after school ends, but those are our two main. But we like to kind of think through how did that season go? How are the kids doing? What are some areas they're thriving? What are some areas that we maybe need to step up and do some training? And so goals for this summer and even into the fall are life skills training, just a lot of life skills, a lot of spending time together, less showy stuff, not showy, but you know what I mean? Like less planned events and things like that, and more scaled back experiences for our family so that they can really enjoy the learning of some of the things that we feel we need to work on. We've also had some goals too, because our business has been so busy and we see that things are going so quickly and the kids are growing up so quickly. We need to change our goals for this next year. And so we were just praying that the Lord would maybe bring a larger job that would be closer to home, where Eric would be working for the majority of the time, wouldn't have to travel to different towns as much and set up and tear down and all the things. And so we did. We secured a job in Ventura Heights that is going to go on for quite a while, and also a new house build right here in Garner. And we just love the family we're working with. They are so sweet. They're having their first baby, and we had just enjoyed them so much, even just as a friend. They're just really neat people, and we're really excited to see what the Lord's going to do to bless them this year. So that'll be neat that they're working so close to home, and I think that will allow Eric to have a little bit more family time. The one thing that we love about this is that the kids will be able to ride their bikes to the job site and see dad whenever they want. They'll be able to help out on the job site whenever they have time. And so it's just really going toward our goals of having more family time this year. We also have been dreaming for several years, well, my husband especially, of having a mentor program in our company. And him and Aiden actually took a course through one of the local colleges. It's an entrepreneurial course. And they were able to even dream bigger in that regard. So we went on a hiring freeze for about the last year. And instead of hiring anybody like subcontractors to come on and help us in the summer, we just froze that and really worked on this mentoring program and what it would look like and how many could we take at a time and how would we bless them and the pay and all of that. And so we are just now getting ready to have 2 people come on that will be a part of that mentoring program. And that is Eric's favorite thing, is to disciple. Not just in the skill of building homes, but how to be a young man or woman and how to grow into who God has created you to be. And then just learning more about Jesus and what he might have for their life. And we're just really excited about that. We get flooded with calls and messages of moms just saying, hey, would my child be able to come and work? I would love for them to learn the skill, or I would love for them to learn from Eric. And we would love to take every single person. But it's just not cost effective. And so we've just been praying about how can we do this, do it well, be intentional, and let it be a benefit for both us and the student. And so I think we're finally back. And so we're really excited for that. We have given our son Aiden a promotion. He has decided after his gap year that he loves working for the business. He loves designing houses. He loves working with the customers and running the projects and overseeing the supplies and the workers, our subcontractors. And he has done a phenomenal job. And so he has been able to get a bit of a raise, which helps him meet his goals of buying his first house, which is why he's still living at home and saving as much as he can. And so we're just so grateful that we can offer that opportunity to him to help him get a good fresh start on his family. So let's see. We talked about the boys working more with dad and the life skills and just seeing him more. Another thing that's changing for our goals in this season is very helpful because the sun comes up so early and it does get really, really hot here in the afternoon. Our crew has been starting pretty early in the morning at 6 something, and then they'll get off about 3:30 in the afternoon. And that gives them an extra long day. They're still getting a lot of work accomplished, but it allows them to be home and have a little bit more family time and then head off to the baseball and softball diamonds. So that has been so wonderful. Okay, that's CHAN and G. And now we're on to E, experiences. So changes in experiences for our family this year was that we got to go to South Dakota for Avery's senior trip. And we have been to South Dakota before to see Mount Rushmore and all of those things about 7 or 8 years ago. And so Aiden and Avery were much younger. We obviously didn't have our younger 4. And so just re-experiencing it again with my mom and dad again. We had gone for my mom's 60th birthday the first time, and re-experiencing it again with our younger 4, and then seeing our oldest 2 as adults in that same setting again, and the new things that they wanted to try. It was a really lovely experience. We are also going to be going to Colorado this summer, and many of you know Eric and Aiden take a father-son hiking trip every year. So once the boys turn 13 in our family, Eric takes them on just a dad and me trip. And so he finds something that child likes to do. They go on a trip, and that becomes their thing. And whether it becomes an annual thing or not, it's up to the child and obviously Eric. But Eric had taken Aiden hiking when he was first turning 13. It was like a milestone. And they hiked a mountain, their very first 14er. And it became something they both loved so much that they've kept it up every single year since. And so we have been, as a family, invited along their trip this year in Colorado. So we're all going out together. Aiden's been there so much. He's like, Mom, there's areas I want to share with you that I want you to experience. There's things I want the younger kids to experience. There's things I want to experience with Avery. And of course, him and Eric are going to stay out a little longer and climb the 14er. They're going to go to a concert out there. Aiden's girlfriend is coming along, and they're going to a concert of a gentleman that they both love. And so this experience is going to be so much fun. Another experience we have on the docket for this year is going to Kansas City. So our younger 3 love it down there. It's obviously like our home away from home. Eric and I have lived there before, and I have a ton of family down there, and we love visiting. But our son Samson has never been, and he hasn't even met some of our family yet. And so, we've had a lot of big events this year where we were hopeful, like, oh, we can make it down for so-and-so's birthday, or, oh, surely they'll come up for their graduation. And it just hasn't happened. And so he's just longing to meet the rest of his family. And so we do hope to get down there. Other experiences that we'll have this year is it'll be our first time experiencing a child in college that is not nearby. So Avery's going away to college 2.5 hours away. She'll be both wrestling and doing track for her college. And so we will be traveling a lot to watch her wrestle and to run, and we'll be going to different neighboring states. And the cool thing about this year is that we are studying U.S. history for our homeschool. And so I told Eric I would really love to lean in to these travel opportunities and, rather than thinking, oh man, we got to drive 5 hours or whatever, to really lean in and think, how could we elongate the weekend and do a field trip with the kids in that state or do some learning things. And I think that would be really special. So we also have some amazing field trips planned for school this year, just so the kids can experience a little bit of the United States and in a different way. So we are super excited. Okay, Change, and now we're with the S. And this is where we are going to land today. The S is how the Spirit is leading, is changing. For us, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I have been invited to speak at an adoption retreat coming up in September. And for the first time, I've been asked to speak at things before, like ladies' teas or a church function. And I always, do it humbly and with trepidation, but I'm always very scared and nervous, and it's all I can think about. And I just get really worked up about it. This is the first time I've been invited to do something, and I was like not nervous, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so honored. Thank you for asking. And so I don't know if like this podcast has helped a little bit, just because I have so much on my mind and it's just nice to have a place to share it, or if it's just the Lord growing me, but I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know how many ladies will be there. I don't know who all will come. All I know is that I'm going to be sharing a little bit about our adoption stories and just leaving the ladies there with some encouragement. This retreat is for people who have adopted, who are maybe doing foster care, or people who are considering adopting or doing foster care. And I was told that I will be the only speaker that has international adoption experience. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as well, even though our experience was very abnormal. I will share about that and just how the Lord has worked. But mostly it's just an opportunity to use my gift to encourage others. And I'm really excited about that. And the last thing that I wanted to share is that because we have been so blessed by so many of you, just with our home and the fundraiser for our adoptions and things like that, Eric and I just feel so compelled to keep our eyes open to needs around us. And even if they're big or small, we never know if the Lord will allow us to be involved. But if we can be, we want to, pay it forward, as it were, or give back in some way. And so just yesterday, I had an opportunity to do that. And it was such a beautiful thing. And just being in the spirit is so, I just can't even explain the feeling, but it's happened many times. But this day was so great. We just sat down the night before. We were going over budgets and things like that, just, talking about inflation and groceries and things like that. And nothing bad, just like, being aware. We just need to kind of be aware. As our budget shifts, we need to stay within the rails and just kind of keep watch on what the economy's doing. And so, just scaling back, probably not doing a lot of extra stuff, keeping our eyes on our goals, that kind of thing. So I go the next day to get a couple of decorations for Aiden's birthday and some food items. And I'm just chatting with the gal at the checkout counter, and we're just talking about this extreme heat. I think it was 93 yesterday. We've had some rain, so it's very humid, buggy, and just not pleasant. And the gal, through a long story short, was just sharing that her husband was trying to install their window air conditioner and had lost his balance or something, and the window air conditioner fell out of the window before he got it secured, and it smashed to pieces on the ground. And so they have been without air conditioning. And I know there are people that live without air conditioning all over the world. I know that it is not a necessity. I know it is a luxury for some, but I have a tender place in my heart for people who are hot. I do not like being hot. I have never sweat well as a kid. I had something with my sweat glands, and so you literally get so hot, you feel like your head is like the size of a bowling ball and you're going to pass out and die from the heat. It takes a long time for my body to cool down, and that's a whole other story. But I just have this soft spot for people who are miserable from the heat. And I love people and I want them to be comfortable. So I'm just feeling for this gal, and she's just talking about how it's been so hot and how her and her husband will put like some ice in front of a fan and they'll lay on the foot of their bed and let the fan blow on them in hopes that they can get some sleep, but they're struggling to get rest because their bedroom's in an upstairs and it's just so hot. And they thought about coming down to the living room, but then they couldn't get a breeze. And I'm just looking at her like, my word, I haven't had to think about any of this. And I just was feeling so badly for her. And I said, well, are you able to fix your air conditioner, or do you have to buy a new one, or what? She goes, well, no, it's not fixable. She's like, we have to buy a new one, but I can't do that until payday. And even then, we had some other things we need to pay for, so I'm just not sure if I'll be able to get it in 2 weeks when I get paid. And I just thought, oh my word, they just said how these next days are going to be miserable. And I just couldn't stop thinking about her. And so as I'm getting ready to leave, I pay, and, I'm buying some flowers, frivolous things. And I'm looking at her thinking she has a need. I'm buying these $10 flowers. I was feeling guilty for that. And I was just like, I heard the Lord say, go buy her an air conditioner. And I thought, what in the world? Like, I don't even know this person. How would I know she's working? Like, how would I even do that? So anyway, I'm kind of ignoring it, and I'm getting ready to say goodbye to her. And I wanted to say, well, I'll be praying for you. And right before that came out of my mouth, I heard the Lord say, why would you pray to me for her when I've already told you what to do? And I was like, oh my word. Okay. So I'm like, well, no, I need to talk to Eric about this. We always talk to each other if there's a purchase over $50. We just had this talk about inflation last night. No. There's no way I could do that. It's a nice thought, but oh man, yeah. Someday I'll be able to do that for people. So I'm, shaking inside, and I'm like putting all my stuff in my cart. I said, will you try to stay cool? And she says, yes, ma'am. So I'm like, just my heart was breaking, even thinking about it. And so as I'm going out to the car, I'm quick texting Eric, like, what should I do? Should I go buy her an air conditioner? God told me to. And he doesn't answer. So I hold my finger down on the message so it makes the little question mark so it'll ding on his phone. He still doesn't answer. So I finally call him. He answers, and he's a little like, yeah, what do you need? It's hot. He's heave-hoeing heavy things. And I'm like, hey, did you get my text message? He's like, no, honey, I'm working. I said, okay, I really need you to hear me. I'm like, Eric, have you ever felt so pressured by God to do something, but it doesn't make any sense on paper, and you know that you have to do it? Because if you don't, you just feel like you're going to throw up. And he goes, no. I go, yes. Remember the time that we had like no money and you needed shoes so badly, and you were going on a mission trip and we had to get you shoes. So we went and got you some tennis shoes, and you went on your mission trip to Omaha, and you met a homeless person on the street who had blisters on his feet. And so you just took your shoes off and gave them to him. And then you had no shoes. Do you remember that? He goes, oh, yeah. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. He's like, okay. He goes, we'll go in and get her an air conditioner. I'm like, well, I think I'm just going to run over to Menards and see what they have. So I went over to Menards knowing that she has an upstairs bedroom and a downstairs living room. We had a dollar amount in mind that we would be able to afford. I was able to get her a small air conditioner for her bedroom upstairs and a larger air conditioner for her living room downstairs because there was some sales. And I was like, praise the Lord. So I get the air conditioners into my car, and then I'm like, now what do I do? I know she's working for another hour and a half because, she's just like, oh, I get off at 3:30 and it's going to be the hottest part of the day. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's when my husband gets home from work now because they're starting at 6 and it's so hot. And so I knew she would be getting off at 3:30. It was only 2:00. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was going to throw up. I was shaking. And so I called my mom and she goes, well, just go back to her place of work, park outside, go inside, and see if maybe she would be able to go on break and you could, take her out and help her get it into her car. So that was the plan. So I go inside. I see a gal at the customer service counter that was an adult. So I thought, okay, she would maybe be the manager. I wasn't sure. And so I went and talked to her and told her, and she's like, no way. You bought this certain name, an air conditioner? And I said, oh, you know her? She goes, we all know her. She's been so worried about what she's going to do. And we all told her to try to get a hold of some churches to see if they could help her, but she didn't know who to call. And I was like, really? And so she's like, you stay right here. Well, wouldn't you know it, as I'm standing there, about 20 people, and I'm not exaggerating, I started counting, are all lined up for the customer service counter. And this lady walks off. And so they're kind of looking at me like, great, what are you having her do for you? We have to wait here for how long? So I was so embarrassed, and I hate drawing attention to myself. I'm already nervous, but I knew God wanted me to do this. And so I'm like, Lord, you're going to have to tell me what to say. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, here comes the lady down the aisle, all the way past the bathrooms, all the way past every checkout counter and the self-checkout, bawling louder than I've ever heard anybody bawl. So of course, everybody's head turns and is watching her. She has her arms outstretched, which seems like a whole mile away from me, to give me a hug. And she has her phone in her hand, and she had FaceTimed her husband, and he's bawling through the phone. Then I start bawling. Everyone's staring at us. You guys, if you don't know me, this is like my worst nightmare, to have everybody staring at you. I would rather be behind the scenes, behind this microphone. It's great for me. It was a beautiful experience, but I was so embarrassed. And so anyway, she was like, you bought me an air conditioner? And I'm like, yes. I go, here, just tell me which car is yours, and I'll go out and I'll load it in your car. And she just holds her hands over her face and she bends over and she's just sobbing. And her boss said, here's the deal. Her and her husband don't own a car. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, great. Now I've made it worse. I'm like, no problem. I'll just drive it to your house. Just let me know where you live. I'll just go drop it off right now. And her boss is like, nope, this is what we're going to do. My car is right down the way. If you could go to my car, put these things in, I will take her home at 3:30 because I get off at the same time today. I'm like, really? Oh my goodness. So the gal gets permission to leave work, go on break, leave work to help me find her boss's car. And so once we get in the car, she saw that there were 2 air conditioners. Oh, that started a whole other set of tears. Her and her husband and I said, well, I wanted you to know because they were on sale. We could get you one for your bedroom and your living room. And she was like, oh my goodness, I just was trying to think of what we're going to do to make ends meet. And I was thinking about calling some churches to help me, but I didn't know who to call. And you guys, it was like the Holy Spirit just took over and started saying all these things. And he says, well, I'm the church because the Bible says that the body of believers is the church. And I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So you didn't need to call the church because the Lord sent the church to you. And I'm thinking, this is not how I talk. Like, this is amazing, but I'm so embarrassed. I'm so nervous. And so she just kept saying, yes, ma'am, amen, yes, ma'am. So anyway, we drive to her boss's car, and I'm thinking, that's just great, Lord. You have me get these 2 huge air conditioners for somebody who doesn't have a car. Like, that probably made her feel even worse. And as soon as I get to her boss's car, and I see all the bumper stickers plastered on the back of her car, I realized very quickly that the boss and I do not have the similar mindsets about life in the world. And I thought, what a beautiful thing. This gal is experiencing Jesus as well. And I can see how the Lord is using multiple situations here to draw people to him and to show his love for these people. I thought, this is amazing. And so we loaded up her air conditioners, and, the Holy Spirit still taking over my body. And I say, okay, stand next to your air conditioners, because when God provides, we want to document this moment. And so she does. She stands and she's so happy. And I take her picture with these air conditioners. And without even thinking, I say, may I text this to you? And she said, yes, ma'am. She gives me her number. And I texted to her and I said, now, if you need help installing this, you have my number. You can get a hold of me. And if you ever need anything else, you can get a hold of me. Okay, this is not me talking. I am easily suffocated by the needs of other people because I care so deeply for people that if I can't lighten their load, or if I don't know how to help them, I get easily bogged down and I just am paralyzed. And I know that the Lord, I can't fix people. I don't ever think that word fits me. I'm sure that's what it looks like, but I just want to lighten their load, bear their burdens with them, and not necessarily take it away or make it better. I just want to lighten their load. And if I can't do that in my own human strength, I just feel so overwhelmed. And so the fact that I would give this lady my number and say, call if you ever need anything, that was the Lord. And I was able to share with her that we have 6 children, that it was because people laid down their life for us, that they sacrificed for us, that we were able to put the addition on our home that would make it possible for us to bring children into our home to care for them. And that I said, we can only love you like this because God loved us first. So anyway, this whole thing, I was able to share the gospel with her, and she has my number. She sends text me, thank you so much, that they've got the air conditioners up and running and they're just so blessed by the Lord. And I just kept telling her, like, today the Lord wanted you to know that he loves you so, so much. And I said, and the Williams family does too. So it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever been a part of. It was all God. And I was just like, what a kind Father to allow us to see something like this or to be a part of it. And so that is how the Spirit has been leading differently for us. Things change and he uses us differently. And I thought, that's so cool, because we've been blessed. Now we can bless. And even though this was like a very meager in comparison to what we've received, it's true, right? We can bless others because of how God's blessed us. And we are changed because of the changes we've gone through in our life. So that is, in a nutshell, the changes that are going on around here. I know you guys are changing as well with the seasons, ages of kids, as you're growing older, all these things. But my prayer is that the biggest changes that you see are your growth in Christ, your growth in your spiritual walk, your growth in your love for Jesus, and how your eyes see people differently so that you can see them through God's eyes. So, friends, this has been so much fun talking about all these things with you. Thank you for letting me share my testimony. Please know I shared in humility. It was all the Lord, and to God be the glory. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.